a single market for the community of the European countries. And what we will see is some of the results of his visionary declaration this afternoon. We will see the building blocks of the current economic European Union. We will see the trends and the economical relation that exists between the Bay Area and between Europe as a whole, and that will be presented by Sean Randolph. We will address practical steps in developing your business to expand internationally and specifically with Europe, and the attractiveness and less attractive aspects of expanding your business towards the European market. Just before that, I would like to, it's my pleasure to introduce you the General Consul of the Netherlands, Mr. Bart van Bolhuis. He was appointed as representative from the Kingdom of the Netherlands in the Bay Area in August 2009. His team, which is based in San Francisco and Los Angeles, focused on innovation, investment, and Mr. van Bolhuis was Director of the Foreign Trade and Investment. He was the Secretary for the Dutch Trade Board in the past, and he advocates for private-public cooperation. He helps the Dutch competitiveness in this globalized market, and he's a great supporter of the EU among his peers, consuls also in the Bay Area, and this is for very good reasons. He has great records for working with the EU and for the EU. He was involved in the creation of the European market by himself, and especially in the monetary union, the euro. He helped the union members to adapt to the EU requirements to adopt the euro and develop markets in the Eastern Europe. And he was leading the Euro team for the Ministry of Finance in the Netherlands and introduced the euro currency in the Netherlands. It is my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Bart van Bolhuis, Consul General of the Netherlands.
Thank you, Olivier. So my first statement would be there is no euro crisis in Europe. Euro is doing fine, but some of the countries have some issues, and we will come to that soon. I'm really looking forward to the afternoon session about the European option, and you might find it courageous to put Europe on the agenda. Everybody looks at Asia at the moment, other emerging markets, and the EU is associated a lot with the euro crisis, and some call it the sick man of the world economy. I'm sure that Sean Randolph this afternoon will put all of this in perspective, but I see it as my job to convince you in the next 5 or 10 minutes that it will be a good investment for you to stay over lunch and not to enjoy the beautiful San Jose weather and or the stress of your desk. So first, are we really sick in Europe? And yes, a bit. We are recovering from a serious infection that came over from this part of the world a few years ago. And we do take the time for recovery. I mean, to really get better, bringing our house in order. Government budget, but also debts in society. In most European countries, the real estate market really was off track. And going through a period of austerity means lower growth and higher unemployment. That's no fun, but neither is the big surprise. So sick, yes, perhaps, but not chronicle or fatal. Societal safety nets are functioning, so we are facing an economic crisis, but not a social crisis, I would say, at least not in our part of Europe. So, and we're going through this whole process to keep the social security net and the economy affordable in the decades to come, and in facing aging population. So the structural condition, at least in most parts of Europe, is not bad at all. And GDP might have fallen back a bit to levels of 2007 and 2008, but we were doing well. in our country, but all our 10 universities in the Netherlands are within the top 100, and the average of higher education is better than elsewhere. And not to speak about healthcare, of those kind of issues. More important, entrepreneurship increased dramatically in Europe, and we learned a lot from here, from Silicon Valley and other places in the US. But we still have to do better. Acceptance of failure, availability of venture capital, to mention two. But it's mainly a cultural thing. It's an interesting fact that the US companies in the Netherlands doing on average better than others. And there are quite a lot. There are over 2,100 US companies in our country with investments in our country. And many, actually it's the first destination of American investment abroad, the Netherlands. And many of those companies have the European headquarters in our country, together with sales and distribution. It includes companies like Cisco, and not so long ago Tesla made the decision to go over to the Netherlands for the European headquarters and distribution center. So we're very happy with that. And there are a lot of reasons, and I would like to share them with you over lunch, but first and foremost is location. There's a market that might be very important for you. There's a market of over 170 million people within 300 miles from our country, including places like Paris, London, and Berlin. And the market comparable with the US is within a range of 600 miles. So that's my second point. The EU is a vast market. It's the biggest consumer market in the world. And it's one market. We have a free market of capital, of goods, of personnel. And once in Holland or in Ireland, you are in an area of 27 countries, or even more. Countries like Switzerland and Turkey implemented the commercial EU legislation, so it's one big market. So that's a great advantage, especially for small and medium-sized companies. And of course, I invite all of you to come over to Europe and to the Netherlands. We share our DNA, I would say. 400 years ago, it started in New Amsterdam, called New York now, and the markets in Europe are comparable to the markets here. It's less complicated than most emerging markets, so it's a great stepping stone for international business. And many IT companies, creative and digital, find Amsterdam a great hub. 11 of 15 transatlantic cables are directed to the Netherlands, and we are building the digital capital of Europe. Not to talk about Schiphol, Amsterdam Airport, the best in Europe, and Rotterdam, the biggest port in the world. So my third, in Europe, was a long time in the world, but it's in Europe. My third and final point will be the importance of transatlantic trade and innovation. And there is a remarkable disbalance between the attention given to the emerging markets and the real patterns of world trade and investment. And Europe is still by large the biggest trading bloc in the world. And when you combine China, India, and all other Asian countries, they might surpass the European Union in 2025. But they will, at least for a long time, no single market. Be no single market like Europe is. And the transatlantic trade between US and Europe is still very impressive. It's about $20 trillion every year, and expected to grow with an average of 8% every year to 70 trillion in 2050. Quite unimaginable figures. You can say it's a lot. And on investment, the symbiotic relation between the EU and the US and the European Union is even stronger. I mentioned before that my country, the Netherlands, is the first destination for US investments abroad. And the other way around, the Netherlands is the number 3 investor in the US. Present here in San Jose with Philips, EISummit, and other companies. And trade and investment relations with the Netherlands create over 65,000 jobs in California and over 700,000 jobs here. And get me right, I don't argue against attention for Asia or other emerging markets. It's not a zero-sum game. I just want to convince you not to forget about Europe